And I've heard horror stories where people are just ordering too much inventory. They get into cash flow issues. They're not ordering enough inventory and end up running out of stock. How much product do you think a seller, somebody who's starting out, really needs to order to be on the safe side?
Well, that all depends, on how competitive the product is and what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to be in the top 3 or 4 positions on page 1 of a very competitive product, or are you just trying to make 5 or 10 sales a day and you're completely happy with that? So I see a lot of people that actually, say, let's test a product. Let's go out and order 20 of this or 50 of that. And there's a lot of people that subscribe to that. I absolutely do not subscribe to that. I think it's a complete and utter waste of time to order 20 or 50 something and quote unquote see if they sell, because you're putting a lot of effort into it. I'd rather put that effort in and use the data that various tools will allow you to use and that Amazon provides themselves to actually make a smart, intelligent decision. And now you don't want to go overboard, but that's what I like to do. And let's throw everything at it. If you're going to do this, don't come to play in the kiddie playground. Come to swing and hit a home run. So depending on how much money you have to start with, that can dictate where you play and which products you might choose to do. But let's say you found a product and that's reasonable, and you do have some money, you have a few $1,000s or $5,000, whatever it may be to come with. What I like to do is use a little formula that will kind of, after I've done my research, there's a lot that goes into the research, and I think we might talk about that in a webinar or something that we might do sometime. But I like to take these numbers and to determine it. So what I like to do is, once I've zeroed in on a product that I think might work for me, based on the keywords, based on a lot of other data, is I use this formula where I take the manufacturing time and I add that to the shipping time, and then I add 10 days as a buffer, and then I add 30 days to it, because I always want to be in stock for at least 30 days on Amazon, because typically on Amazon, if you go below 30 days worth of stock, it can actually affect your ranking. Amazon likes to see typically, give or take, it's in the different categories, around 150 units in stock, and that can weigh into your ranking and what they show you. So I always like to have at least 30 days in stock. So let's use this formula where you say your manufacturing time, let's say it takes 25 days to manufacture a product over in China and to get it inspected. And then let's say you're putting it on the water. If you're flying it, it could be quicker, but let's say it has to come by sea. Let's say that takes 30 days for it to come over by sea, to go through customs and to get checked in and arrive to Amazon. And then I like to add 10 extra days to that. That's where that third part of the formula is the 10 extra days, because the 10 extra days is, you never know if something's going to go wrong. The port's closed, it's a holiday, it gets held up in customs for extra inspection, whatever. And then I add that 30 days. So let's say it takes 25 days to make it, 30 days on the water, and then you add the 10 extra days, and that equals 65. 25 plus 30 plus 10 equals 65. Then I like to keep 30 days worth of stock, so that equals 95, if you add all those 4 together. And then if you're doing a product launch, you might want to buffer it a little bit more, because you're going to be giving away a little bit more at the beginning if this is a new product, perhaps, depending on your strategy. So let's say I'm doing a 10-day product launch. So I'm going to add another 10 to that. So if you add all those numbers up, that equals 105. And then what I'm going to use is my market research that I'm going to use some other tools for. There's several different ones out there that can give you this information. But I'm going to use that, and I'm going to look and say, I want to target like the 4th or 5th competitor. That's what my target is. Maybe you're targeting to be the number 1 guy on the page, so you're going to use that number. But I typically like to come in, because I don't want to over order, like what you said. If you get too aggressive, say I'm going to be number 1, maybe you screw up and you order way too many units. And so I like to go kind of in that average, that middle range of who's like the 4th or 5th, or sometimes I'll even take like the top 16, throw out the top guy, whoever's selling the most, just eliminate him from the calculation, eliminate the bottom guy from the calculation, and do the average. Mm-hmm. So let's just say, based on that, where you're targeting is 20 sales per day. So based on those numbers, we added up earlier, that equaled 105, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. I would take that 105 times 20 sales per day is what my target is. Let's say that's what the 4th best competitor is selling. And then that tells me how many I need to order. So in this particular case, what's 105 times 20? What's 2,100 units. So I would order 2,100 units. And now if ordering 2,100 units of these was more than what my budget could allow, I don't have enough money to do that, then I might choose another product, or I might try to come up with the money if the data really justified it. But that tells me where I need to play. I see so many people, they order 500 units or 1,000. And yes, you can sell some and you can make some money, and there's nothing wrong with doing a smaller amount. But if you want to come and compete and play in today's Amazon market, you got to come to the table with all your chips. And so that's how I calculate how much I need to order on a new product.
Cool.
For more information, insider tools, and to get the resources mentioned in this episode, visit ampmpodcast.com.